Hi everyone, and welcome to Willow Cove Crafts, my channel here on YouTube where I talk about knitting and sewing and my other crafty endeavors. My name is Emily. You can find me on both Ravelry and Instagram as Willow Cove Crafts. Today is Sunday, June 26th, and I am coming to you from just outside of Madison in Verona, Wisconsin. If you are a new viewer, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you so much for choosing to spend a little bit of your day with me. As always, if you are so inclined, please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment. I really love hearing from you all. It makes me really happy to chat with you all over comments or over on Instagram. Today's episode is going to be all about everything that I worked on in the month of June. I am filming this because I typically film these the first Sunday of the next month. We're obviously still in June, so I'm filming this a little bit early. The reason for that is Dan and I are going to be out of town next weekend and the weekend after. Next weekend is 4th of July here in the United States, so it is a holiday weekend and we are going to a lake house with some friends, and it is also going to be my birthday. My birthday is the 4th of July and I will be turning 31 this year, so I always get really excited when my birthday rolls around. I love birthdays. Yes. I have a couple things to show you today. I am not going to show you everything I worked on in the month of June. I had a little bit of I have these like bursts where I just I call it project hopping, where I just for the span of several days work on something different each day. It's, I get this feeling of oh, there's so many things I want to make and so many things I want to work on, and then I just hop around from project to project, and then eventually I land on something and stick with that for a couple weeks. In true fashion, the things I'm going to show you today are brand new projects because I love to start things and then abandon them. I've talked about this before. It's a habit I would like to break at some point. However, it didn't happen this month. I have kind of set aside all of the projects I showed you last month and I'm working on something new. But such is life. It makes me happy. Casting on new projects makes me happy. Ultimately, I would like to start finishing things. I think I'm going to finish what I'm going to show you today. But we'll see. I'm running out of needles. Yes. If I cast on something new, I'm gonna have to steal the needles from something else, and I don't like doing that. It's a major pain. So I'm just gonna have to finish this project. So yes. Let's start with finished objects. I have one thing that I finished this month, and it is a sewing project. I had started this last time, and that is, someone corrected me. I had been pronouncing this Reglisse, and someone corrected me, and I think the correct way to say this is Reglisse. I'm still probably saying that incorrectly. But they did inform me that it means licorice in French. So this is the Reglisse dress from Deer and Doe Patterns. It comes with two views. One has this bow detail and a sheared waist. And then the second view has a button detail and then an elasticated waist. I made this second version and it's finished. I almost don't want to show this to you because it needs to get washed and it's very wrinkled. I will insert some pictures of me wearing it at some point so you can see it in its fresh finished glory. But here's the dress. As you can see, super wrinkled. I made this for a wedding, and that wedding was a couple weeks ago. And then that all went smoothly. And about a week after that, it was Dan and I's anniversary. And so we went out to a nice dinner, and I decided to wear my freshly finished dress, as you do. And we got to dinner, everything seemed fine. We sat down, we started eating, and then I looked down on my lap and there's this huge spill on my lap. And it looked like a food spill, like a sauce almost. And it didn't look like anything we were eating. And so Dan and I were a little perplexed as to like where this huge spill came from. Because yeah, it did not match anything that we were eating. It was a little gross. I don't know what happened. But it was really disconcerting because I was like, shoot, like this is my brand new dress. I love this dress. And now it's got a big mysterious food stain on it. Is there oil in this sauce? I don't know. That would be just about the worst thing ever. That would cause a stain that would not come out. So once we got home, I like quickly put, in case you are unaware, I learned this from my sister who has a degree in mechanics. So she works with a lot of, oil and things like that, metal. I don't know a lot about mechanic things, but my sister told me that Dawn soap will get out nearly anything. So I put Dawn soap on it, let it soak for a little bit, rinsed it out. I think it looks pretty good. You can't really see the stain. That is upside down. Yes, I think it got it out for the most part. I can still see it like a little bit, but I think once I wash this for real, that will hopefully go away. Anyways, this is real life, everyone. You finish something, it's beautiful and marvelous, and then you spill something on it immediately, or, rub up against something. I still don't know what happened. Anyways, this is my Reglisse dress. I sewed this out of a fabric I purchased from Pretty Mercerie. It's blowing out a little bit, but it's this like beautiful dark green. I think if I lean back and take it out of the direct light, you can see it a little bit better. But yes, it's this just stunning dark forest green. This is one of my absolute favorite colors. I did do the button version and I picked these golden buttons. I bought these off of Etsy. My inspiration for this like combination was I saw a picture of Kate Middleton. She, obviously dresses very well. But there was this picture of her. I think she was at like some horse race or something super fancy, but she had this like dark green dress and it had these huge gold buttons down the front. And I really loved that look and wanted to kind of create something, a different style. That particular dress she was wearing is not something I would probably wear, but I did like this, green color with gold buttons. I thought that looked really nice. And so I made my own. What size did I make? So deer and doe, I talked about this before. I'm gonna sound like a broken record. I've said this so many times, but I think I bought 5 paper patterns from Deer and Doe, thinking, I would treat myself to some pre-printed patterns. This one, the last dress I made from them, I talked about this, how I bought the paper pattern, only to realize that the paper patterns have a limited size range that I exceed. They do have PDF versions of their patterns that have a little bit of an extended size. I always make the largest size that Deer and Doe offers, which, I don't think I'm like a super large person. I'm not small, but I'm also not super large. So I do still think their sizes are maybe a little bit limited. They have been expanding them, so hopefully they will continue to do so. But this is your friendly public service announcement that if you are a bit larger of a size, don't get the paper pattern. Get the PDF. It's kind of a pain. You have to then assemble the PDF, but it is what it is. So yeah, I make the largest size. I forget what it is. So I have a 45-inch bust. I think their largest size, it's European sizes, which I don't fully understand. I don't understand American sizing either. It just all seems arbitrary to me, but whatever the largest size is, that's what I typically make in deer and doe patterns. And yes, I really love this dress. I was like super proud of it. It's pretty simple, but like it's very striking. Again, I think it's the color. I love this color and I feel super fancy when I wear it. I got a couple compliments from strangers actually when I wore this to our dinner. I assume that was pre-stain, but I don't know. That is one of life's, mysteries. I feel like we all have those moments where you're like, what happened? And you're like, I don't know, and I'll never know, but I'll think about it from time to time. I do have fabric to make 2 more versions of this dress. I plan on making a black cotton version and a like chambray version, a light blue chambray, to make 2 versions that are a little more casual. Something about this is like very fancy to me. Like I just feel really elevated in it. And so I don't know if it's something I would wear on a regular day. Maybe I would, I don't know. But yes, I'm a really big fan of this dress. I feel like it fits me super well. Modifications, I suppose I should talk about. I did elongate the torso. I'm 5'9", so I'm pretty tall. Let me grab this real quick. You might notice on the cover that there's 3 buttons called for in the standard pattern, but because I elongated the torso, I did 4. I also made the skirt a little bit longer. I'm definitely glad I elongated the skirt. I feel like if it were shorter, I think I made it longer by about 2 inches. I think if the skirt were any shorter, it would have been too short for my liking. Yeah, other than that, I stuck to the pattern very closely. And yes, I'm in love. I love pieces like this that are simple but really pack a punch. I don't know what it is. I can't like quite define it, but simple elegance is something I really like in an article of clothing. And yes, it looks like a crumpled mess at the moment, but trust me, it looks really good. If I do say so myself, I'm really proud of this one. All right, moving on to works in progress. I have 2 things to show you today. One knitting, one not knitting. My knitting project, they're both brand new, like I said. Yeah, I just can't seem to finish anything these days. But anyways, I decided to cast on a new sweater. I was watching the Creabea Podcast with Rebecca, which if you don't watch that one, you definitely should. Rebecca makes just the most beautiful sweaters, and I love everything she does and want to copy her. But anyways, one of her more recent episodes, I think it's over now, but she mentioned a sale at the wool warehouse in the UK on drops yarn, which I've never knit with drops before. I do have some of it in my stash and it feels really nice. And I went and the yarn was super inexpensive. And again, the wool warehouse is in UK, which I'm in the United States. It is far. But shipping was super cheap as well, which I was surprised by. So I bought a lot of drops yarn and it came and it was lovely and I wanted to start knitting with it pretty much immediately. So I decided to cast on a new sweater. This has been what I have worked on pretty monogamously the last 2 weeks. Again, the first 2 weeks in June, I was just like kind of all over the place, and I've really settled into this project. So yes, and it's going quite quickly. The sweater I am knitting, I'm holding too many things. I am making the Sunday sweater by PetiteKnit, and here's where I'm at. Let me back up. Like I said, this is about 2 weeks worth of pretty monogamous knitting. So yes, the Sunday sweater, some of the big features are it's got a folded over collar, which I'm pretty obsessed with the folded over collar. I think it looks really nice. It's just adds an element of coziness to any sweater. So I do think from here on out, well, I don't know. Any sweater I knit that does not call for a folded over collar, I might consider adding one because I just think it's a really nice element. And then, you know, this is a super popular pattern. You've probably seen it before. I see it on Instagram all the time, but it's got a circular yoke that looks kind of like a sunburst. I think that's why it's called the Sunday sweater. So yeah, it's just like ribbing, but it starts kind of narrow up at the top, and then the ribbing kind of expands and radiates out for the yoke. My camera's like really zoomed in today, so I'm trying to show this to you as best I can. And then you move on to the body that is plain stockinette. I've got a couple more inches to go until I do the bottom ribbing. And then the sleeves are pretty big balloon sleeves, like very billowy. You actually increase as you move towards the wrist, and you get these big poofy sleeves. And yes, the yarn I'm using, like I said, I took advantage of the Wool Warehouse sale on Drops yarn. The pattern calls for 2 yarns held double. So my first yarn is the Drops Air. And this is color 34. I believe on the website they called this Pink Marble. And it is a very light pinky beige mauve color. And I paired that with Drops Kid Silk. This is color 20, and I believe they call this light beige. I suppose I should tell you the fiber content. So the Kid Silk is 75% mohair, 25% silk. Again, that's the light beige. And then the Drops Air is 65% alpaca, 28% polyamide, 7% wool. The Drops Air is an interesting, if you've never seen it or touched it before, it's got this like chainette quality. So I'm pretty sure if you look very closely, it's almost like a chained tube. And I think that is the polyamide, which is the synthetic fiber. And then they, as far as I know, they blow the rest of the fiber into the tube. And that's the alpaca and the wool. And it just, this yarn is super soft. And then, paired with the mohair, it's just, it's so soft. Anyways, I do think the Drops Air, if you've seen the Woolfolk Luft, it's very similar. It's much less expensive in case the Woolfolk Luft is a little out of your price range. That is a pretty pricey yarn. And then, yeah, that beige mohair. And together, it's making this absolutely gorgeous sweater. Like I said, it's going very quickly. I do feel like I'll pretty easily finish the body this week, move on to the sleeves. It's a long holiday weekend coming up, so I'm hoping I'm gonna get a lot of knitting done over the next week, 2 weeks, and finish up this sweater and finally have another finished knitting object to show you. I don't think I finished a knitting project since March. I think that's correct. Is it? Maybe February. I don't think I finished a knitting project since, for those of you that are new, I had surgery in February. And so I kind of have that as like a mental milestone in my life. And I don't think I finished a knitting project since before my surgery, which was at the end of February, which is outrageous. I've done a lot of knitting. I just can't seem to complete a project. I'm hoping this is the one. I really like working on it still, and I'm like really gunning to have it done. February. That's crazy. Anyways, Sunday sweater by PetiteKnit. Really fast, chunky sweater. I don't know if it was obvious, but that drops air is a bulky weight, I believe. So it is knitting up pretty quick. I'm knitting it on size 10.5. The pattern calls for 7mm needles, which are not super easily available in the United States. I don't know why. 7mm needles do not translate. So like in the United States, we obviously have a different needle size system than they do in every other country. We always have to be different. So yeah, there's 7mm needles and it doesn't translate to any of our needle sizes. So, you know, the US needle sizes go from 10.5 to 11 and it just completely, 10.5 is 6.5mm and then size 11, I believe is 7.5mm. So we jump up a whole millimeter. And there is no 7mm. And so I just decided to go down a needle size. This sweater's pretty oversized, so I did not gauge swatch. But I figured, you know, it would be oversized, and if it was a little smaller because I used a smaller needle, it would be fine. So far, it's fitting really well. It still has that oversized look I was going for. But yeah, interesting fact about needles. I was, you know, having some trouble finding US-based shops that sell 7mm needles. Specifically, I really like ChiaoGoo needles, so I wanted to find some 7mm ChiaoGoo needles, and I don't think I could find them at all. So very strange. So yes. I don't know if I have anything else to say about this. I feel very rambly today and kind of all over the place. So I hope that's all right with you. Yeah, I feel like there was something else I wanted to say about this and now I can't remember what it is. Whatever. If I remember, I will tell you next time where this is going to be a finished object next month. I'm making that promise to you. It might be an empty promise, but I will try. My last work in progress, like I said, is not a knitting project. I tend to always like to have some sort of sewing or sewing adjacent project on the go. And typically that is either like a garment or a quilt. But I have been having a lot of problems with my sewing machine. I don't know if I've mentioned before, but my sewing machine is... Sorry, I thought I saw something outside. My sewing machine is, I think they call it thread looping, where like if I run a piece of fabric through it, it's creating kind of like elongated stitches on the underside of the fabric, and it's obviously not like structurally secure. It sometimes like gets caught on itself and like my fabric gets stuck. And, you know, previously, like my machine can't sew faster than a certain speed. Otherwise this thing happens, this thread looping happens. And then in the last like month or so, it started happening even on the slowest speed. So my sewing machine has a little dial where I can adjust the speed. And I was just having a ton of problems with thread looping, and it was making sewing not enjoyable because, you know, I was constantly like checking to see if I had any sort of that thread looping. It was happening very frequently. So I was like ripping out seams and having to redo them. It was just a pain. And I had that dress, that green dress that I wanted to make for my friend's wedding, which obviously had a deadline. And so I borrowed my mom's sewing machine. So I think I've mentioned this before, but my mother is a very avid quilter. She's incredible. I'm gonna have to have her on one day, I think, and just show us some of the things she's made because she's very talented. Anyways, she has a spare sewing machine. So I borrowed her spare sewing machine. My mom lives like 20 minutes away from me. So I borrowed her spare sewing machine to finish my Reglisse dress, and that went pretty smoothly. And I was like, great, I'll just like borrow this for the time being. And then I really wanted to start working on my Lala Fancy quilt again. If you've been around for a couple episodes, you'll know that that's my current quilt project. And so that spare sewing machine, so for the Reglisse dress, I was using polyester thread. I like to thread match to my fabric. So my Reglisse dress is a viscose fabric, which is a synthetic material. And so I like to use polyester thread. With viscose, my quilt is quilting cotton, so I like to use cotton thread, which cotton thread's a little bit weaker than polyester. Anyways, I put cotton thread in the spare sewing machine to work on my quilt, and it kept breaking. So something was like wrong with the tension. I played around with that, and I could not get it to sew without breaking the cotton thread. So then I was also having problems with the spare sewing machine, which was all very frustrating. So ultimately I gave my mom back her spare sewing machine because it was just taking up space. I haven't yet, but I plan on taking my sewing machine in to get cleaned and serviced. I am hopeful if it's looked at by a professional that they'll be able to figure out what's wrong with it and get that thread looping to stop. So I'm gonna try that. If that is unsuccessful, I might be in the market for a new sewing machine. But I am hopeful they're gonna be able to fix it. I haven't taken it in yet. I'm probably gonna do that in the next couple weeks. So all that to say is I'm taking a little bit of a break from machine sewing because I don't have a reliable sewing machine at the moment. But I do still like to have some sort of non-knitting project on the go, like I said. So I decided to start a cross stitch. I've never really showed anything like this on the podcast before. I do really like hand stitching, be it cross stitch, embroidery, English paper piecing. I find hand stitching very relaxing. It's not something I do a ton of, but every once in a while I get a real like hankering to have some sort of hand stitched project on the go. So this was a great time to do that with my sewing machine being out of commission. So I started a new cross stitch. Wow, 5 minutes to explain all of that. So I have quite a few cross stitching kits in my collection. Most of them are from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, which if you've never heard of them, you should go look at their website. They have just the like cutest, most whimsical little cross stitches. I just love them. I think they're adorable. There's always like little details that are just so cute and just so extra, and I love it. So I have quite a few kits from them. And the one I decided to work on is their, I believe it's called Cozy Cafe pattern. And it's just a shelf. There's 2 shelves and it's got 10 different beverages on it. And I think it would be a cute little thing to like get framed and hang up in the kitchen. So yes, I'm working on that Cozy Cafe pattern by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And again, 10 different drinks. I started right in the middle with raspberry mocha. And this is what I have so far. We'll try to catch that. So what you are seeing, the panda, again, it's just this like cute detail. Like, you know, this is the mug. I haven't put the handle on it, but it will have a handle. So it's a mug. The mug has a panda on it because why not? Again, it's those little details of like, you know, why do a mug when we can do a panda mug? Why do a regular panda when you can give him a cute little heart on his belt or whatever? It's adorable. So I've stitched the mug. There's going to be a little raspberry here in this empty space, but so I've stitched the mug, and then again, this is raspberry mocha, and so now I'm filling in, this is all of the like foam on top of the drink that I am working on, and then, you know, there will be some lettering up here that says raspberry mocha. It'll have a handle. Super cute. Very exciting. And I also love patterns like this that are kind of modular. Like, again, there's 10 different drinks, and so like finishing one of the drinks feels like a little mini finished object. So yes, really been enjoying working on that. And yes, there will be beading on it, which is not something I've ever done before. I looked up a little tutorial on how to do that. It doesn't seem too hard. Yes, and then one day, like I said, I think it'll be a cute little kitchen decoration. So yes, Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, Cozy Cafe. I don't believe they have kits for this one currently, but I believe the pattern is available as a PDF on their website. And it tells you what colors of DMC floss to get. It would be pretty easy to just put together your own little kit to make your own version. And that is everything for me this month. So I will do a little like recap of what we've been up to in the month of June, talk a little bit about July and my plans, and then I will say goodbye to you. So if you're interested, the month of June, I just elbowed that. I feel like we've done a lot, but also not a lot. It is summer here in Wisconsin, and I feel like we have been trying to take advantage of the nice weather. We've been going to the pool, just trying to get outside, grill, that sort of thing. Like I mentioned, I had a wedding that I went to. What else did we do? We had our big company picnic. Dan and I work for the same company, in case you are wondering. And every June they have this big picnic. So we went to that. Yes, this weekend we didn't do much. We had kind of a relaxing weekend. So June was like things here and there, trying to get outside. Yes, I watched the new season of Stranger Things twice. Once by myself and then once with Dan. So that took up a lot of time. I really love Stranger Things, and I really liked this new season. Season 3 was not my favorite, but I feel like this season was really good. I've been doing a lot of reading. I am currently reading the A Court of Thorn and Roses series, which I'm really in love with. I think it's a pretty popular series at the moment. I think they're making a TV show out of it, which I'm really excited about. It's like pre-production. It's not going to be done for a really long time, but Yes, if you like fantasy, if you like love stories, really recommend that series. I think about it constantly. It's been a while since I've read a book series that I like really, really am into, but this one is really good. So I've been doing a lot of reading. And yes, looking forward to July. Like I said, next weekend is the 4th. It's my birthday. We are going to Illinois to a lake house that we rented. We'll just be doing some boating, kayaking, all of that, lake fun. The weekend after that, Dan and I and some of our friends are going to Door County, which, if you're unfamiliar, Wisconsin has a little peninsula up towards the top. That is Door County. It's supposed to be really nice up there. I've never been. Door County is one of the prides of Wisconsin, and I have just never been there. So going to Door County. I have a really big work project that is coming to a conclusion this month, so that's gonna be a pain. I am looking forward to that being done, but we want to talk about real life. Work is really taxing at the moment, but that will be finished this month, closer to the end of the month, but what else? Oh, I'm going to Boston. I don't know if I've mentioned that. One of my really dear friends, one of my oldest friends, lives in Boston. So at the very end of July, I will be going to visit her for 5 days. And I'm really looking forward to that. We grew up together, and she moved to Boston for graduate school and never came back. So yes, but I will be going to visit her at the end of the month. Really looking forward to that. So yeah, July is going to be really busy. Lots of travel. I still hope I'm able to get a lot of knitting in. Traveling a lot, but also, I'm taking quite a bit of time off of work this month to do said traveling. So I hope all of that time off equates to lots of knitting time. And I will chat with you again in August to talk about what I have worked on in July. So I will see you then. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye, everyone.